All right, welcome. So, before we get started, I'd like to announce that my paid products are officially live. So, my first ebook is now out. You can go and buy that if you're interested. It's on semen retention, and I'm going to be making follow up videos talking about the content of that book moving forward. But for now, if you're interested in that book, you can go and check it out. And if you'd like to book a call with me, a coaching call, you can also check that out in the link in the description. So, growth is all you need. What does this mean? Growth is all you need, right? So a lot of people in self-improvement think that we need this perfect morning routine full of all these self-improvement habits. We need this perfect day. We need to be grinding hard all the time. But all of this has a specific purpose, right? And the reason we do all of this and the reason why all of this is valuable is specifically for the reason that it allows room for growth. It creates room for growth. So the statement that growth is all you need is trying to say that really the only thing we need to focus on is growth itself, not a perfect routine, not a perfect morning routine, not the perfect business model to start, right? It's actually just growth in the area that we're looking to get into. So if it is business, right, it's not the perfect idea, but rather growth in the field of business. So you might play around with a few ideas before you find the one to stick to, but it's about growing mentally in a way that allows you to become more of an entrepreneur, become closer to that end goal, right? And if you continue to follow that growth, you will find yourself on that path. You will find yourself on the way to your goal, right? But when we spend too much time thinking about what we want to have, right, the life we'd like to have, or this big goal we want, or which business model is the perfect model, we don't get anywhere, because when it comes to finding the perfect business model, experience and actually trying different ones is how we will end up deciding on one or the other. So it doesn't need to be perfect. You simply just need to be getting better. As long as you're getting better every day, then that is close enough to perfection, at least in my eyes, right? So the difference between making giant leaps within the day and making continuous progress day to day, right? So a lot of us, me included, we're going for these big leaps, right? We want to make a big jump in our life. We want to have a big change in our life, right? But the problem is that when we do, let's say we have the perfect routine for one day, right? We make this big leap, we make a lot of progress all at once. But the problem is it's not sustainable, right? It's fleeting because we're looking to take it on all at once and we're not applying it and integrating it slowly, right? We're not integrating the experience of struggling as slowly as we can and in a way that we can actually process it and learn from it and grow from it as a result. Whereas day-to-day progress, continual progression over time, is more sustainable because we are actually building the foundation. We are building the blocks up from the ground up, and we are actually getting ourselves to where we are level, right, at that higher level, right? What we perceive as the next level or the next stage in our life, we will actually be at it will be at a baseline, right? It will be our baseline, right? That level of being will be our baseline, is what I'm trying to say. So the way we actually make progress is through what we would call progressive overload in the gym, but we can apply this to every aspect of our life, right? This progressive overload within business, let's say, right? Or within a sport, or if you're trying to get into reading, right? Progressively overloading that skill where you might read one page today, but maybe you could try 2 tomorrow, and then by the end of the week 5, and then by the end of a month 10, right? And you continuously make that progress. Eventually you could be reading a book a day, right? If you continue that progression over time. So perfectionism itself is actually ego, right? It comes from the ego. The ego is what wants perfection right away, right? Because the ego doesn't actually want to change. And if we can experience perfection without the effort, right? If we can experience the reality we want without the effort that it takes to build upon that, right? We just get it all at once by forcing ourselves to do the thing, right? This is ego, because the ego doesn't want to change, and if we do that, right, we don't have to change. We don't have to change if we can just force ourselves into doing what we need to do when we need it, right? And so the ego will focus on perfectionism, will focus on trying to make it perfect, because the ego doesn't want to change, right? Because the only other option is change, right? The only other way to actually get to where you want to go would be to allow yourself to change, allow your mind to be rewired by the new habits that you're picking up on. So, striving for perfection, but settling for progress. We want to be seeking perfection. We want to be striving for perfection. We want to be working towards a level of perfection, but we want to be settling for making progress, right? We cannot be disappointed if all we did was make some progress, right? We cannot be disappointed if all we did was get a little bit closer than we were before, right? And this is counterproductive even. We need to be excited for every little ounce of progress that we make. I just made a video on dopamine detoxing that talks about how pleasure actually comes from progress itself. Making progress in life is what creates pleasure, right? And so when we are striving for perfection, we never actually seek or experience the pleasure of being, the pleasure of growth, because we're focused on the end goal, but the end goal doesn't really exist, right? This is a fleeting moment, a fleeting desire, right? The only real reality is the present moment and the work that we're doing within it to grow, the growth that we're experiencing as we move through the day-to-day. So really, the only thing we need to be completely focused on is progress itself, not perfection. Have the end goal in mind, but only feel fulfilled based on progress, not based on a level of perfectionism, right? So continuously growing, continuously striving for growth, constant growth is what will bring you to being your best self, right? This ideal self that we all have in our heads, right? So the thing that will bring you there is continuous growth, is constant growth, right? There is no perfect routine that will do it, but there may be a perfect routine that will force you to grow in a way that will get you there. Does that make sense? So the present moment is a gift in and of itself, right? The present moment is a gift in and of itself, each and every present moment. And you may be thinking, well, actually, my present moment sucks. That is the gift, right? That is the gift, is that it sucks, is that it is forcing you to see yourself, and it is forcing you to see your situation, and more specifically, the aspects of your situation that you would like to change. And it is forcing you to see it as an opportunity for you to change it, right? So, in the present moment, within the present moment, we have an opportunity. We can create anything that we want, anything that we wish, right? We can go and apply ourselves in any way that we wish, and this will create that result specific to what we choose, right? So we have that free will, and within the present moment, we have the power to impose that will, right? So if we are present and we are focused in this moment, we can create anything we want simply by acting upon it now, right? But we won't receive it now. We won't receive the gifts of that now, or the outcome of that now. We will receive the outcome of that later on in our journey. Plus, if we are within the present moment, whatever opportunity is presenting itself to you right now, so let's say that is your room. Let's say your room is an absolute mess, right? So your room's a mess and you need to clean it. Well, what can you do? You can go and you can start cleaning your room, right? You can begin to clean, and once you have started to clean your room, what will happen is you will be presented with a new opportunity. Whether that's, let's say your room's really bad and you just finished your laundry, right? And now the next opportunity would be, well, maybe now you have some room on your floor and now you could probably sweep up, right? Okay. And then the next opportunity is you look over and your desk is a mess. Okay, so that's your next opportunity. Clean up the desk, right? Or it could be that your room wasn't that bad in the first place. And you actually didn't need to do too much with it, right? And maybe you had some clothes on the floor to pick up. Well, now that you've done that, you've opened yourself up to the next opportunity. Maybe then you remember this business idea you had, right? And then maybe you might go and try that, and you might work on that. And then that will lead you to a new opportunity, so on and so forth. But every time that we come back from the present moment, try to avoid the present moment, go into the mind, go into predicting, go into trying to force things, right? We lose this ability to just work and flow with life. And so these opportunities stop just presenting themselves in a very clear and upfront way right in our face, right? We have to then search for them again because we have become lost within. And then, so the last thing I have is taking it one step at a time. So you really do just want to take everything one step at a time because, like I was just mentioning, each step will lead you to the next opportunity, right? So each challenge that you face will make you stronger, will force you to grow, and it will lead you to your next challenge, right? It will lead you to the next thing that you have to overcome, right? So perfectionism itself will actually prevent progress, and here's why. So waiting for the perfect opportunity. If you are in your head thinking about the perfect business model and the perfect opportunity and trying to create this perfect routine, right? You're avoiding the work itself. You're avoiding just doing something, right? You're avoiding just following a routine, right? You just need to follow a routine. You just need to find something productive to do, right? So stop waiting for the perfect opportunity. Stop trying to create the perfect routine, right? And actually just do the next thing on the list, right? Just do the next thing you have to do and continue doing this until you've created some momentum. And as you create some momentum, you can build this perfect routine, this ideal routine. But do it as you go, right? Don't do it and then think that you're going to make it and then all of a sudden do it. Do it, and as you do it, build up the routine. Create the routine as you go, as I just said. So when you make the task seem bigger than it is, or bigger than you can handle, right? This is one of the things that will overwhelm you. So, for example, when it comes to YouTube, for me, it seems to be a big thing to sit down and record videos because a lot of times I plan here to be here for up to an hour, right? Because a lot of my videos can be really long. So I plan to be here for up to an hour. My mind overcomplicates what this will look like, and so I see it as a bigger task than it really is. Sitting here doing it, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, that big of a task, that much of a problem or an issue, right? But beforehand, when I was thinking and creating my idea of what it would be like to sit down and talk to a camera for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, right? It seems like it's a big task. It seems like it's a big thing because my mind is constantly focused on comfort. It's focused on saving energy, and it is focused on preventing me from doing things that will cause a level of stress. Even though these things are very good, like stress is very good in certain cases, right? My mind wanted to make it seem as though it was bigger than it really was. And so the last thing I have is decision fatigue. So when we are trying to create this perfect routine, when we are giving ourselves this level of decision fatigue from having all of these options, from all of these things we want to do, trying to create the perfect business model, this is when we end up in a level of stagnancy. We create stagnancy through this by forcing ourselves to kind of think upon things, create something in our mind before we have experienced that thing. So coming up with the perfect business model before you've worked on any of them is impossible because you have no clue, right? And so you will end up with decision fatigue and stagnancy because you are trying to figure it out before you've done it. You simply need to do it in order to figure this stuff out. But trying to make the decision in your head before doing anything just creates this decision fatigue, because you're going back and forth constantly because there's no actual conclusion, because you yourself don't know. You yourself have no clue, right? So the only thing you actually need to do is pick a business model and go for it. I got lucky because I did wait, and I did kind of deal with this for a while where I had some decision fatigue. But as soon as I got over that and I just picked a business model, it was YouTube, and it ended up being the one that I wanted to stick to. I got lucky. You might not. You might try a business model and hate it, and that's fine, because that will give you the level of clarity for you to make the decision, right? But if you don't have the clarity, you're just going to create that decision fatigue that I was talking about. All right, so that's the end of this video. That's all I have for you guys. If you're still watching, check out the link in the description. All right, look at my ebooks, book a call. But yeah, other than that, that's it from me. Peace.